Hello everyone, I'm Rahul Tyagi, and when this topic was given to me to talk against, I thought maybe we are giving too much or too less importance to our own profession. Why too less? Why too much? I think we'll have a discussion on that. But yeah, so I took this liberty to tweak the heading of the discussion. It says, is the architect only, if it would be like this, community directly responsible within their scope of work for pollution, which is air, water, noise, etc. in Delhi, planned areas or NCR more than the others? Then it would itself give you an answer. So we know the major cause of pollution is carbon dioxide, and if you see, it's mostly because of fossil fuel and industrial processes and other greenhouse gases. Now, if you see that what are the industries which are actually polluting the environment? So if you see, buildings just feature roughly 6% of the entire spectrum. So that's what we are talking about. If you talk about the industries, most polluting industries, number 1 is fuel, number 2 is agriculture, third is fashion, for a surprise, fourth is food, fifth is transport, and construction comes to 6th, just above technology. And when we see the entire spectrum of pollution, there are so many things involved, from airplanes to industry to food to livestock. Now let's come to our own Delhi. What is polluting Delhi? Let's see. The major cause of pollution in Delhi is motor vehicle emissions. Second is the landfills that we see. When we come to Delhi from any corner, we are greeted by this landfill, and there are occasional fires and smoke coming from them. Obviously, there are thermal power plant. There's a lot of controversy. Sometimes they are shut down, then again they restart because we have energy crisis. And a regional thing is that occasionally we have stubble burning, which spoils the entire environment in the months of November and December. Now let's come down to the actual causes of pollution. Let's see. When we talk about PM 2.5 pollution, 38% comes from road dust. Now definitely that is because vehicles keep moving on it. 20% due to vehicles itself, 12% due to domestic burning, and 11% due to industrial points, because most of the industries have been shifted out. When we talk about PM 10, 56% again comes from the road dust, 10% comes directly from concrete patching plants, that's why it's in yellow. Again 12% from industrial sources and 9% from vehicles. So when we talk about the sources of pollution, let's talk about the reasons for pollution. Why is it getting polluted? Why are we polluting the environment? Nobody wants to do that, but still why? So obviously there are reasons beyond our control, that is industrialization, population growth, real estate boom, unsustainable growth, unplanned infrastructure, technology boom, and the will of the management to control it, and obviously resourceful depletion. Now let's talk about the role of the architect community. Now I've just made up some points, I've given you some data, that what is the actual scope of buildings which are polluting, and now let's see the role of the architect in it. Obviously you all know that when you do a building project, there are a whole set of stakeholders involved. Architect is just one part of it. Well, there are engineers, consultants, valuers, landowners, companies who are constructing it, financiers, government bodies. So everybody is a stakeholder. When we see a project in specifically, this starts from a client who has an idea, who has a will to make something. He hires a consultant for feasibility. Then comes the architect with his entire team. A major part of the chunk of the project is handled by the contractor and then the subcontractor. And finally the owners take over and then they use it. So again the scope of the architect has gone from 6% to I don't know how much. I mean, if we go into figures. But when we say this, I'm sure, I want to believe this, that most of the architects who have gone through a 5 years training are sensitive enough towards the environment. So no architect would want to make a building which will pollute. But if you have to use cement, which is the most polluting industry, what options do the architect have? Like Manoj Mathur sir, he said that a lot of new materials should be used. But is that the job of an architect? It is. But how can he control it? So there's a lot of limitations available to the architect. But yet, a lot of green buildings have been done where the embodied energy has been taken care of. We have a lot of examples, and I'm sure more and more buildings which are coming up are green buildings. They were always green, by the way. And then I'll just show you a few examples available in Delhi, where you can see that the architects have done excellent work. They've created lungs for the city, and they've really made amazing buildings which are green, which are not polluting at all. This one is one of our building. I just want to end up this presentation with just a small conclusion that, yeah, architects, I would be lying if I say architects are not involved, because everyone on the planet Earth is polluting. But yes, architects are not directly responsible for pollution. However, they have the opportunity to positively influence the built environment and contribute to reducing the impact of building on the environment. Thank you.
Yes, you can start first then.
Thank you, Smartex, and thank you for giving this opportunity to talk about this very relevant topic. So actually, I had a video which I would like to play. This is one of our projects we have done in Balswa dump yard, the largest dump yard in Delhi. We have designed the school for the rag picker kids who live around the dump yard. A very small initiative by Dipti Foundation, which is an NGO that is working in the area. It's in a very polluted context where we have tried to go with approaches that we thought would bring an impact. So this is the largest dump yard, and we have tried to minimize the impact of pollution and respond in the best efficient way using the waste, reduce, reuse, recycle, everything. And as a country, India is in a very fast pace of construction, and we need buildings because we need shelter. It's very important. So it's very essential that we build wisely with lot of thoughts, with lot of concern to what we build, because what we build is going to last for centuries. So whatever we are building, we need to have always keep in mind the principles of reduce, the efficiency of what we are making, or the adaptability or flexibility of those structures that we would be making. Otherwise, we definitely are contributing to the pollution and adding more of waste into the scenario. At the same time, life is moving ahead. Everybody will want a new building or a new space. So what will happen to these existing buildings? How can we remodel, or how can we make it relevant to the society? These questions are still unanswered in our field. That's what I think. So this is all about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You have really done a wonderful project. It means you are into the positive manner. Okay, we can create good hope from our debris and any kind of construction waste. Okay, now move on to.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amrita Dasgupta from Studio Code. Thank you to Smartex for having all of us here. I put together this short presentation also along against. We do not believe that architects are responsible for pollution in Delhi. So the answer is a resounding no. So just a few facts and figures. Before 1985, just to sort of classify what NCR was, before 1985, Delhi was a very small area, right? And after the NCR was formed, the boundaries kept expanding. So this is what NCR looks like now. So Delhi, which was a small, green, beautiful, historic place with certain boundaries and certain industries and certain ratio of green and open, NCR now encompasses so many more industrial areas and so many more spaces which are coming up. One of the things which Rahul mentioned, planned, so lots of unplanned areas which are also being considered as part of the NCR border. And so, of course, I think both of us have delved into facts and figures. So I'll give you one from the Center for Science and Environment. They did a study last year, and in November 2022, they found that all of the local sources of pollution, which contribute to 2.5, the highest are vehicular emissions, 13% are from residential sources, and 11% from industries all around. The smaller numbers are from the burning of waste, from the energy sector, and from road dust. And of all of that, construction only contributes to 7%. So I wanted to talk about what the architect's role is in general, what we understand to be our involvement and scope of work as we go about our profession. So the first, of course, is the most fun, right? Is design. You're at the drawing board, you're making models, physical, digital, sketching, all the possibilities. Then there's construction, you're involved in it partially to a smaller extent. And then, of course, at the end of it, there's a building. And hopefully it's met all of the environmental requirements you wanted, it meets the client's specifications and briefs, and it is everything that they wish it would be. Now the construction, you think it's just a word and just maybe a phase, but actually what it is more like this, right? So there's trucks, there's lots of dust everywhere, there's lots of sort of no scaffolding, there's nothing to control the dust, there's lots of things being moved from one place to the other, cement mixers, roads being planned, stone being polished, lots of activities which generate a lot of dust and debris and waste. And it's not something that architects really have in their purview. Yes, we're doing site visits, yes, we're going to make sure quality is checked, but obviously, unless we are making the building, we are not part of this whole process. So that's our dilemma, right? The final structure, and this is something that Professor Mathur also mentioned, that the final structure is not able to compensate for the harm it has done in its construction process. Because really, there is a lot of harm done in the construction process, and I think we have to be able to do this better. So the process of construction is largely unregulated and disorganized. There's a lack of oversight, and all of this uncontrolled environment increases the pollutants in the air. Because of material procurement, dusty trucks moving around all of the roads in our city without covers, or they let go with some sort of pockets being lined. Developer breed, client value engineering, even though as architects we may have made the right decisions, spec'd the right things, chosen the right materials, very often they are changed during the construction process. And so can we do something better with our regulatory bodies, with the councils that have a big role to play in what construction compliance needs to be. So for our part, can architects work more closely with the construction industry to develop a second life? And this is something also Professor Mathur touched upon. Existing structures, so the idea of adaptive reuse, reusing building materials to have new lives, can all of these things that were taken apart when a new project has to come, replacing the old project, can we do things differently? So these are just a few of the projects we've done. In the first one, we worked with all of the waste material from the Balarpur paper mills to create blocks for the housing that we were doing in the 120 acres master plan. An old house in Juhu, which we've redone completely. Like the clients wanted to break it down, but we gut renovated it, used a lot of the materials inside, and we've used a lot of the stone from the floors on the cladding outside. Laterite blocks we made in Calcutta with the local material that we excavated from around, because it was an existing building we gave a new life to. And then working with craftsmen to use all the packaging into their office directly. So that's it for me. I do believe that architects can help reduce pollution, but we are not the cause for pollution in Delhi-NCR. Thank you.
Hi, good evening everyone. So I believe हमने already against भी बात कर ली और इसके favor में भी बात कर ही ली है. So I'm going to take sides for both of them. Be talking about a little things which we see on a regular basis, at what challenges do we face, like stone cutting or dumping of debris, cleaning site and using diesel engines, using construction, the phase and everything at that particular time. And one thing which most of the people are irritated by, the noise pollution that we are correcting. And there are like very small, pointers or things that we can do to make difference out of it, like covering the building or using like factory cutted tiles and stones on our sites just to, decrease the pollution over there. And, by adding moisture to debris by the time we are transporting it from one place to another, and maybe by proper dumping yards or something. So that like these are the small challenges and the regular challenges जो मैं समझता हूँ कि हम डेली बेसिस में देखते हैं और हम इसको बहुत डेली बेसिस में छोटे स्टेप्स के साथ ठीक भी कर सकते हैं. लेकिन जो एक्चुअल में ये चैलेंजेस और सॉल्यूशंस है, ये चैलेंजेस तो रेगुलर है, बट ये सॉल्यूशंस जो है ये थोड़े से टेम्परेरी है फॉर अ लॉन्गर रन, विच वी ऑल बिलीव दैट वी कैन टेक डिसीजंस. लाइक this is one of a project that we are like revamping. This place used to be a garage sort of thing, and we are developing a small cafeteria over there for upcoming office location around that. So as you can see, most of the materials, most of the products and the overall look and feel of the space is coming up with either by reused materials, by recycled materials, and we know that approximately 25 to 30% materials are with least zero carbon footprints. But yes, these things and these places definitely give a very feel-good factor. being an architect, we all know कि हम पॉल्यूशन में कहीं ना कहीं तो सपोर्ट कर ही रहे हैं, एंड हम इंटरनली ये जानते हैं कि हमें इसको कहीं ना कहीं ठीक भी करना है. So I just want to end up my take on the discussion by adding a small quote from गुलजार साहब कि हर किसी का खुशी से एक कदम फासला दूर है और हर किसी के घर में सिर्फ एक कमरा कम है. तो थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन.
Thank you, Suraj. So it means all of you are saying कि during construction we have to create pollution, and after the construction we can reduce the pollution. But as far as the conclusion, जैसे आपने बताया या मैम ने बताया, because construction and debris तो we are producing during construction, and what about the after execution जो हमारा waste है उसको हम लोग कैसे control कर सकते हैं? If we are going with the solution, then is it relevant to go with pre-engineered, prefab? And is it relevant for you?
Yes, so I just recently, like I said, that instead of bringing like products for the cutting of tiles and stores or something, we can rather go for pre-cut marbles, slabs or something for our project, so that जो pollution है by the kind of cutting and everything, तो हम at least उसको decrease कर सकते हैं. I believe steps बहुत छोटे ही लेने हैं, but I guess उसी से थोड़ा बहुत difference जो create कर सकते हो कर पाएंगे.
But on the other hand, when you are using that kind of materials, then they are designing, they are manufactured in the factory, they are using more reproductive waste. Then how do we start? Is it कि हम लोग ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि हम लोग वही मटेरियल यूज़ करें जो ऑलरेडी हमारे पास अवेलेबल है? जस्ट जैसे मनोज माथुर सर सेड कि स्नो है, स्नो से ही घर बनाना है. देन क्या हम लोग अपने डिज़ाइन आइडियाज़ को चेंज करके भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं कि रादर देन वी आर यूजिंग टाइल्स, all the construction materials, can we change the concept from them?
Like to an extent, yes, we do. So as we have seen in Japan, they use the broken tiles and broken elements in their flooring and stuff. So किसी portion में भी या जितने level तक हम उसको use कर पाएंगे, definitely हम कर सकते हैं.
Okay, thanks. Seems to me.
So I think what you are referring to is recycling of material.
Yes.
So this is not a new concept for India. I'll just give you an example of tin dabda of dalda, in which you get ghee, and then when the ghee is used, you use it to store dal, and when that has also lost its life, then use it in the WC. And after that, as a dustbin. So we have always been a recycling society. If you dismantle any house, I don't think we have come across any client who wants to just throw it away. The steel bars are taken away. There are scavengers who will come, who will take each and, in fact, whatever bricks are possible, they'll take it away and recycle it. So recycling is not a concept for us. We have always been recycling, primarily because we are also short of resources and short of money, you can say. So we would want to recycle and use whatever is available. But on the other side, like since the technology has moved on, like Mathusa was showing a very small mobile instead of a big headphone. Now, we also have to move towards industrial produced material for our buildings. A building is now more of a assembly of various materials which can be recycled. Obviously, we can't say that the architect's responsibility is to recycle everything. It's also the industry's responsibility because they are the primary and the major source of pollution. But yeah, if you have standardized material available and which is not polluting, like cement is the massive pollution industry, and we don't have any option for it. If you have to make a multi-story building, you have to go for an RCC structure. But yes, if you can move on to materials which are recyclable, which have low embodied energy, I think that is the future of building industry.
Yeah, I think there are two aspects to it. One is about the amount of space that you're making. The second aspect is the building material. So if a client of a family of 4 who wants to build a house of 10,000 square feet area, luxury house, do we have the courage to say, no, you don't need that much, you only need... So that is where the point lies. That is one thing. The materials come in the second part. When somebody wants to make something that is very luxurious, they want to use those products. So do we have the courage to say, like, no, we have simple things like coir, like our indigenous products, with which we can make the building beautiful, or we can make luxury out of it. This is not the luxury that you need. Do we have the courage to say that? That is the point, I think.
I think it is also to do with the idea of beauty. What is considered beautiful and perfect. I think to sort of continue some of the points that have been made here already, is that yes, now people can afford more, so they want more, so they want perfection, right? So they want the best stone from Italy, and they want the best, wood from wherever, somewhere, depending on the use. But also, I feel like in that, like the recycling that we used to do, that what was sort of acceptable and suitable, which has been replaced by this is what I want. I think that has also led to a lot of this, because if you are okay with sort of beautiful terrazzo floors, which are now again back in fashion, right? But that is it has cement in it, but it has also got a lot of waste chips and stones and things inside it. I think it is all a matter of what we want, which I think we have to educate our clients on many times. But then at the end, very often, like, you either leave the project or you can hopefully convince them or come to some sort of a middle ground. But yes, I think in our solutions that we present to our clients and education that we do as mentors, or, to various institutions we teach at, I think we do have to talk about this more.
Thank you so much. I think we are running short of time, and right now we have to conclude the term. Basically, जो आप लोग की presentation के बाद यही conclusion समझ में आता है कि मुझे as part of the any kind of project, like we are making a house, we are making apartments, we are making any kind of the industries, we have to think about designing and execution, but we have to think about the energy which we are consuming to produce what we want to execute in the end of the day. Then we have to think about the energy, wastage, everything we have to pre-plan, pre-managed kind of the things. Then we have to think about how do we control the pollution, because when we are going to running around the Delhi, like Delhi is good, I think it's a greener state, but when we are going the NCR regions, lots of apartments, they have lots of dust problem, because we have a house जिसमें हमारे पास ready to move in है, but in the front of the another construction is going, then what we can do? Then we have to think कि हम जब design करें, हम जब execution करें, then हम सामने वाले residential parameters को भी ध्यान में रखते हुए अपने energy resources, construction material availability, वो कहाँ से produce करना है, कैसे reduce करना है, we have to think about that.
I think one point what we missed out is that what is the role of an architect?
Yes.
Like if you see, when we talk on such forums, we think that architects are the only one who are supposed to take care of these issues. But if you see in real life, if you have a beautiful house and you ask, इसका architect कौन था, तो he'll say, नहीं idea मेरा था, उसने सिर्फ drawing बनाया था.
Exactly.
That's the role of an architect. But when you talk about pollution, when you talk about sustainability, material usage, then the architect comes over. So I think there is a dichotomy over there, so you have to also consider that.
Smartex.